We do have some earnings coming up this week. Nothing that really is piquing my interest. Maybe Jinko Solar, but outside of that, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at.
Love it, Danny. Quick couple of follow-ups on that. So MU, which you mentioned there, as well as XPEV. Can you talk about what dates and strikes interest you?
So with MU, if I were not in it, I would be looking at probably the 87 strikes for this week or the 90 strikes for next week. It's got a bunch of gaps here on the 30 minute. I'm looking at an island reversal. So basically, an island reversal, it could reverse from the bottom up and from the top down. But what we're looking at on Micron is an island reversal from the bottom up. And so basically, what that means is you have a gap down, you have a little bit of consolidation, and you have a gap up. And so that's exactly what we're seeing now. And we have a piercing 30-minute candle right here. I would say on MU over 85.50. I think you could take the 87 calls for this week with a well-placed stop loss. It's got a nice MACD crossover coming in on that 30-minute. Notes, no squeezes to note, but we are looking to push through RSI breakout on the trend line. So I do like MU. What was you asked about XPEV?
Yes.
On XPEV, I am playing this mostly shares. Um, but if you were to look at contracts, I would go further out. I would probably go out maybe 4 weeks, maybe even a little further, maybe like the December 17s. And I think the 55 calls can work if we close over 52.79. If we close over 52.79, that's our 1618 extension. I would be looking at the 200% extension at 54.41. So the 55 calls would be what I would look at. And so just so everybody knows the way I like to play options, I tend to, for the ones that I feel like have momentum, I may play the weeklies or I may play 1 week out. And for the ones that I feel that they don't necessarily have that explosive move, they're more of a slow ticker, slow mover, I tend to go out at least a month. But I never, in both scenarios, I never go out further than the next resistance. And so for Micron, if my next resistance is $87, then I'm going to take the 87 strikes. And for XPEV, if my next resistance is 54.41, I'm going to go with the 55 calls, or maybe even a little below that as well. But I never like to go out beyond the strike that is my next resistance, because all you're giving yourself is another roadblock to get through to potentially get to that strike. I want to go slightly out of the money or close to the money and then let that trade play out.
Great points there. Great points with where to set the strikes, the dates. I like it. I've been going, I think, a little too short term with some of these weeklies. I'm looking to perhaps move a little bit farther out. So kind of a work in progress, but awesome stuff there, Danny. All right, I'm going to get Bobby involved and Juicy. Real quick, if you were in the audience, I'm actually tracking this cool website now that I see that tracks the stats on these spaces. We've had over 2,300 people come through here. We've been live for over an hour now, maxed out at around 900 listeners. So crazy stuff to see. If you've been enjoying what people like Ben and Gerg, Danny, Evan, Nick, and others in here have been speaking about, make sure that you are following them. That is the best way to continue to make sure that your timeline is blessed with their content. I can deeply vouch for their knowledge. You've heard it here. They really are some of the preeminent authorities, at least in this space, of Twitter and FinTwit on technical analysis, fundamental analysis, day trading, long-term investing. They really have a ton of perspective to offer. So, you see some of these accounts up here, Ben, over 100,000. There's a reason that their followers are just flying for great people who very much deserve it. So thank you to everybody who is giving back to them, because that makes it easier for me to get awesome speakers on here. Is when y'all follow them, I can tell these awesome speakers like, hey, there's great reason for you to come on here, and then they come in and share. So helps me out too. And if you're enjoying the spaces, I have at least 10 more planned for this week, potentially 11, even though I'm traveling because I can't get away from these. So make sure that you are checking out the Wolf account as well, if that's something that you are interested in. Okay, Bobby Gattuso, what's
Hey,
going on,
good
man?
morning. Hey, thanks for having me. A lot of good stuff today.
Hey, real quick before Bobby goes, everyone should know Bobby works on the Wolf team. You can check that in his bio. He does stock commentating and charting for us. Helps out with running some of our socials and stuff. So if you like the Wolf team, check out what Bobby's doing. All right, Bobby, all you.
Hey, thanks for that intro. And yeah, I appreciate it. I put out some good charts. Hopefully, they work out throughout the week. When I'm looking at today, obviously I'm looking at the VIX. Obviously it was elevated on Friday. And it's doing pretty well today, about 15% down. From the other speakers, I completely agree. I'm looking at MU. I'm looking at Tesla. These ascending triangles. Tesla just came off of an inside candle day from Friday, and you saw 2.5% jump up. And obviously, I'm looking at Pfizer, Moderna, and then I'm kind of looking at my old Rolodex of the stay-at-home plays because that may be reality to some degree. Probably not the full reality of what we remember, but I'm anticipating a bounce with some of those tickers that have been selling off hard over the last 3 or 4 weeks. Like Zoom, Peloton. I'm waiting for those simple moving crossovers to happen first, and not just buying on a downtrend, but buying into strength going forward.
When you mentioned Zoom there, I was looking at the Zoom chart, so I'm actually watching right now, and I saw some action coming in on Zoom. So maybe some people are trying to think that perhaps there's volume. There's actually a lot of call action that just swept in on Zoom. This is actually whoa, big players sweeping in on Zoom. January 21st of the 22s. Wow, 600K in one of these, and then like a whole bunch more. Yeah,
Yo,
like
Wolf, the Jack
yeah.
news just got confirmed right now of him leaving.
It just what?
Just got confirmed he's leaving.
Wow, look
Yeah,
at
Twitter's
that.
been halted for a while.
For news, right? So yeah, it just came out.
So we should have seen this coming when he tweeted out, "I love Twitter" last night. That
Oh,
is, yeah, it was the sad, heartfelt goodbye that we all deserved. It's okay though. He'll still be around. He'll still be liking Greg's posts. So things will be happening. But Bobby, what were you saying on Zoom
Well,
there?
it makes a lot of sense. Going forward. These behaviorals aren't going away, and they're only going to get more prevalent. In the years to come. And Zoom sold off hard, and now with the variable of a new COVID variant. I think that's going to be a strong stock to look at for the next 3-4 months going to the middle part of the winter.
Yeah, I'm thinking here. So Evan, let me pop this by you. Going long on Zoom as play of the week. What do you think?
I mean, I'd have to look into it a little bit deeper. I mean, it kind of goes against what my trade of the week was in Stock Talk Weekly Space. It was kind of playing along on a theme that's been happening with Docusign earnings. So I'm down to kind of hedge the bet a little bit. Have we looked into the options at all?
I'm looking at him right now. Gerg, you're our resident play of the week expert. What do we think?
what's the play this week?
So what do you think about going long Zoom?
No, I wouldn't go along any of these COVID players. Of these stay-at-home players just now, I think. They sell off now. I'm not
Interesting.
bullish on the room. I think it's still a bit expensive. But Paladon seems interesting here, not gonna lie, at 30 bucks. No, at 35. At 35 bucks, you're paying 10 times for the revenue business, and you get the accessory and the bike business for almost free. So, if Peloton goes to 35, I would love to buy it for long term because I'm willing to pay 10, 12x for the revenue business because when people spend 2 or 3 thousand on a bike, they don't mind 30 bucks a month, right? They're gonna keep on using that. So,
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I see that. Yeah, I didn't realize Peloton was all the way down to 43. That's pretty crazy. Um, okay. Bobby, what else is on your radar before I'm going to pop it over to Juicy?
Obviously, Pfizer, Snowflake as well. On the 65-minute chart, the 8 SMA just crossed above the 21, and now the 21's acting as a nice little area of support. And if you're looking at like a volume profile shelf, there's a big gap all the way up to. I'm just looking at the chart I did.
Be careful with Snow. They report earnings this week on, I think,
Well,
Wednesday.
yeah, I mean, probably you're going to see a little bit of a hype going into it, and then hopefully not a sell-off. But yeah, it'll be definitely a volatile stock to watch this week, so it'll be interesting.
Can I throw another
The
trade
Snow
of
1 year
optimism out
chart.
there into the world?
Yes.
All right, let's. Sorry, there's a little delay there. I'm going to say long Twitter. Obviously, we can't do it right now because it's halted, but hey, I think it could be an interesting trade.
He's Square, right? I think. A lot of people didn't like he was spending time with both these companies. It's bullish for Square too, I
I
think.
actually do agree with that.
Oh, I actually like
Yeah.
that. Let's look. That's an interesting idea. You know who's a huge Square bull? Juicy. What's going on, Juicy?
What's going on, man? I am bullish on Square. I'm not in it. I definitely think it needs to work out some stuff here intraday before we try to pull trigger here. I was looking for the inside day break to take it up, but we had that gap up. When it gaps above your inside days, you pretty much take it off watch and wait for either an orb or some type of pattern, something. And it's just been selling off since then. So, we'll see. But for me, I'll be honest with you, I'm slightly green, slightly red, kind of. So I had a nice trade on this inside day on Tesla. Pretty much, I tried to hit the NVIDIA trigger that pulled back in my face. It's part of the game. Then I had Lucid pull back on me. So that pretty much negated the Tesla gain, and I'm short Riot right now. And, this is unrealized gain. So technically, if I cashed out a Riot short right here, I'd be very green on the day. But I can't really count that until it just hit a new low too, until I cash that out. But looking at the overall indices right now, it's a little choppy. If you take SPY, put that thing on a 5-minute chart. It's literally sideways. It has not moved. It's like legitly just sideways. Look at SPY on a 5-minute chart right now. We're starting to break down in ES, but that's just the start. So all in all, for me, kind of choppy price action. This Riot trade kind of brought me red to green. About the quarter cut here. I was trying to see if we can break 34, but we're kind of dying off here. But that's it for me.
Yeah, I'm always looking in this market to play both sides. I haven't really come in on too much, but so much of this that started off popping has gone red. Also Robinhood all the way down to under $26 per share, down what 32% since the IPO, as well as from the highs they're down what like 60%. So that just continues to fall off. Not sure exactly what that's related to today, why they're having such a huge sell-off. Etsy has been super, super powerful over the last 3 months. I still really like the name. They're down 3.8% today. After, like I said, it's 33% across 3 months. I really like that name. That's something that I'm going to continue to keep an eye on. It's, proven its strength even in some of this uncertainty. CLH has moved downward since we had Jonah on. It's down about 1.5%. Palantir, Gerd, I'll throw this over to you. Palantir's almost back to $20.
Yeah,
Where do you think the
I
bottom
would.
is?
I think $20. That's where I would love to buy that. If you guys want to buy Palantir at $20 and don't want to wait, and you want to get paid to wait, go short the December puts. The 20 puts, right? The 20 puts for I think the third week, they offer you 51 cents. So in theory, you have to buy Palantir at $20 by then, but you get paid 50 cents right away. So your cost basis technically is 19.50. So that's what I would be doing right now if you want to be long Palantir at $20. But the problem with that is my average is $20 right now, and I don't want to ruin it buying above that. So I would only add at $20. But Palantir has been free money. You could have bought this at $20 for last 4 times this year and sold at 27 4 times this year. Like the chart seems to repeat the same pattern again and again. So last 7 months now it's kind of been range bound between 20 and 28. It did break both of them once, but it came back. So for Palantir, $20 and 28 key levels on opposite sides that I'm watching. But I'm long Palantir for the long term. I think this can easily double or triple. But this isn't for the impatient people out there. This might stay flat for a while, so if you like quick moves, this might not be for you.
Gotcha, right. I know that's one of your bigger positions. Okay, Ben, would love to get you back and involved. We're over an hour into market time. The large caps are doing pretty good, which is kind of something that I think we saw a lot through last week, where this was where the money was flowing, right? When you look at it, you have Tesla up 4.3% today, you have Apple up 1.5%, you've got some of these. I'm hoping that this is like decently updated. I know Finviz doesn't go that far, but Amazon, Google, both look like they're green. CRM, Nvidia. There's plenty of green in these large ones, and then you go to some of the smaller ones. If you go into, especially like healthcare, some of these like Merck, BMY, you go to financials, obviously PayPal and some others. How are you continuing to eye this market that seems pretty lopsided, where these indices are kind of being propped up, but a lot of people are getting hit?
Yeah, you really have to watch that with small cap growth, and I keep an eye on IWO, because for me, that FFTY, PDP, those are the ones that I use to keep track. They're ETFs, but use them to track small cap growth. Because they'll move. We see these bifurcations where the big cap tech is green, but the smaller cap tech is getting crushed, and small cap growth is doing the opposite. And you mentioned earlier, and you kind of picked up on it right away when you mentioned black box, and some of those alerts that you were getting was Facebook, Nvidia, Tesla. You were getting alerts on those big boys. And, at that time, at the open, let's see, we were like 7-8 to 1 advanced decline, and now we're negative. So you may be feeling that in your portfolio, where you look at the headline numbers and they're bright green, and you think, wow, I should, be having a good day. And then you look at your portfolio and you're in the red. If you're holding a lot of small cap growth, under the surface, it's like two separate markets. The big cap tech holding up the major averages, but the small cap growth and that stuff, getting hit. So, it's great if you're invested in Nvidia and Tesla and the big cap, tech stuff. But IWO, and just to tell you that kind of bifurcation, you look at, let's see, the Qs right now. The Qs, you're up. Let's see, what are the Qs up? But I know IWO, which I was mentioning, just went red. The Qs still up 1.2%. So you have like these two separate markets going on, and depending on how you're invested, determines whether you're having a good day or not. Because if you look at IWO, small cap growth, it's down 0.25%. So a lot of the composition of your portfolio when the market is like this plays a huge role. And that's why I say watch breadth. If you watch summation index, whatever your choice is of breadth, if you see that that's rising, more stocks are participating, and breadth is advancing, you've got a much better shot at being profitable with kind of a diversified portfolio. Versus a market like this right now, you really have to be in the right names and picking the right stocks. Because even on a day like today, it's not lifting all the boats. So if you're in small cap growth, you're probably red on the day despite bright green headline numbers.
Yeah, my exact thoughts. Definitely
Well,
continues to be
you
tough.
guys see this news from Twitter? Breaking news from
Yeah,
Bloomberg.
yeah. Throw it out there. Here, you can pin it to the top.
Yeah, I think it's in all caps, so it must be true. Just like Evan said.
That's how it works. If anybody tweets at me in all caps, that's how you know it's been fact checked. Who fact checks the fact checkers though, right? Okay. Let's take a look at a couple of other names here. CrowdStrike doing interesting things, down 4.6% today. Another name that has seen a lot of strength, but has kind of now been pulling back. They have earnings this week. I may do a space later in the week to cover those earnings, but I mean, this is still up like 500% since 2 years? Oh my God, it's crazy how much some of these things have run. Let's see some of these other names. Just continue also to watch the option flow. I see Peloton puts, so people are not so bullish on Peloton. There are more puts coming in that area. I also see CCL puts. I think that's Carnival Cruise Lines. Wow. Yeah, people are not hot on Peloton right now. That is a lot of red. That is massacring there. And just continuing to eye things around. Okay. TSDR, what's up, buddy? Did you have a comment?
Hey, how's it going? No, just thanks for having the space. Thanks for having me up. So one thing I wanted to bring up that is important that I keep in the forefront of my mind on a day like today, where we see such a significant gap up in the market, and me primarily being a day trader, these kind of days really suck for me. Especially to the long side, because the range is so, I don't want to say capped, but it's so minimal to the long side when you get a 1.5% gap up in the Qs and in the S&P. So I was leaning very biased to the short side today, but really anticipating significant range trading today, where there's, breakouts are going to, fail, and shorts to the downside are likely going to end up being bought back up and getting put back into range. So when the Qs gap up over 1%, over 0.7%, it really sucks, because it sucks a lot of the range out of the market to the long side, and yeah. So that's what I have for today. So I was leaning mostly short today, and I still think there's. And everyone brought up, the market breadth weakness. I mean, the Qs are really being held up by the big dogs. Well, I'm going to look at QQEW equal weight only at 0.38%, so about 1/4. RSP equal weight S&P only up 0.18%, where the SPY is up 0.62%. So there's still some significant relative weakness in the overall market, and the VIX is currently pushing back up towards where it opened, looking to enter the gap. I think we're going to see a little spike in the VIX coming up, and it'll be an interesting week going forward.
And are you shorting the VIX today?
I am still short UVXY. I got it right at the open. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to it through today for sure, and I will assess it as we go forward.
When you got it
Yeah,
right at the open, it was already down
Correct.
15%? Okay.
the news
What's up,
came
Gerd?
out. The CTO, Parag Agarwal, is the new CEO now.
Wait, what?
So for Twitter, the CTO, I think the guy's name Parag, is the new CEO now. I expected Ned Siegel, not gonna lie, but the CTO is the new CEO now. And they said no change in guidance for the year from Twitter. And
Wait,
yeah,
where is this on Bloomberg?
It's
yep.
out there. It's been reported. It's a bunch of
This
places.
Okay.
Honestly,
If I haven't seen it tweeted by Evan, I don't
I
believe it
did get
yet.
it out. It's pinned up at the top now.
Okay, good. Now I can believe it.
Honestly, I think that a chief technologist officer does kind of make sense as CEO. I will say, like, the CEO of a company does matter 100%. But they don't make every single decision. They don't affect the company as much as people do tend to think. But I would say that like I always like to have a CEO. What their background tells me the direction the company wants to go, and to me, this tells you a lot that the platform, the technology behind it, is what Twitter finds most important.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, real quick, George, what's going on? I brought you up before but couldn't
Yeah,
hear you. Can you hear
sorry
us
about
now?
that. Can you hear me okay now? Hello? Cool.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, a lot going on. First thing I'll say is I've gotten just a lot smaller. I've been around the block long enough to know when there's just too much uncertainty. Markets are okay pricing risk. They're not okay pricing uncertainty, and that's what we have with this Omicron. Markets completely underreacting to what's going on, focusing totally on the wrong thing. I think the jury's out as to whether it's less severe or not. I would caution people: you really got to go to primary sources. Don't just read the media accounts. The Western media is garbage. If you read today, there was news that if you look carefully, most of the early cases are amongst younger people. And so, and again, I'm no armchair virologist, and I suggest, or epidemiologist, it's beyond my pay grade. I think it's beyond everyone's pay grade. But there was some stuff today from some smart people on Twitter about the breakouts were most among younger people. And so one could imagine, and then there was some stories today that was more serious. So the idea that it's less severe, we don't know that. That's number one. Number two, and here's what we do know, people really haven't done their work. The transmissibility, or the rate with which this thing spreads, is not being focused on. So stipulate that, well, let's just say it's less severe. Just let's suppose that. I'm not saying it is, but let's just suppose it is. What is a fact, if you do dig into the data, the positivity rate in testing in the last 2 weeks has gone from 1% to 9% of tests. And that's despite the level of increasing, the level of testing going up by 50%. That did that in a week. The Delta virus, it took 5 weeks to do that. All right. And if you drill down further and you look at the R0, and you kind of extrapolate just to break it down into how quickly this thing can spread. This is napkin math, so I'm not interested in precision, but it's more accuracy. Based on past data and studies, it looks like, just by way of reference, it would take like 35 minutes for the alpha variant to spread, 25 minutes for the delta variant to spread, and by comparison, if I had to guess, it looks like the Omicron spread transmits in 5 minutes. I mean, this is just way off the charts. It completely changes the risk profile of everything we would do, like getting in a taxi, walking into a store, talking to a coworker. I mean, so imagine if this thing is spreading as I believe it is. I mean, it looks like I think I can pull it up, but look at the R0 factor. If this thing is spreading as quickly as we believe, even if you think it's mild, which we don't necessarily know, the rate of spread is going to be ginormous. You take a look at like a couple of planes that went from South Africa to Amsterdam, the other day. Fully 10% of the people tested positive. And in Holland, we don't know how many people there were Dutch, but Amsterdam has an 85% vaccination rate, which is another thing too. The vaccines, they will prevent. Yes, it's thought that they will mitigate severity. But the vaccines there's no reason to think, it looks like the vaccines do not protect you against getting this thing. So I think the market's being way too complacent about this. So with that in mind, I think we're at a very dangerous time of the year, because we're into December, and this sort of lazy, complacent, bullish view was, oh yeah, seasonality, blah, 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 Christmas rally. The prime brokerage data from JP Morgan out last week showed that hedge fund net positioning was in the 99th percentile, and that kind of mirrors where retail investors are. So everyone's gotten greedy, looking to run this thing up into the end of the year. So, it's one thing if you have no positions and you say, okay, I don't know what to do. I'm not going to buy, I'm not going to sell. But when you're 99% long, or 99th percentile of positioning, and you've had an okay year, and all of a sudden your profits start to disappear pretty quickly, like, I don't see who's going to stand up and take risk at this part of the year. So I think the market's incredibly dangerously positioned. That's number one. Two, going on to the breadth thing. This is not a new development. This has been going on for weeks now. And I just look at the, people are mentioning the IWO. I look at the ARKK versus QQQ. That thing has been going down for weeks. Kathy Wood is a car crash waiting to happen. She has no skill, no talent. I mean, if you just superimpose her portfolio against the index of loss-making tech companies, she's a beta merchant on steroids. The redemptions have begun. They're going to continue. They're going to accelerate. Do you realize that despite the fact her fund has gone up, whatever it's gone up 5x in the last 4 or 5 years, the average investor has lost money in her fund? That's hard to do. But again, those return profile you see, those are time-weighted returns as opposed to dollar-weighted returns. And everyone piled in, the bulk of the money piled at the end of last year, beginning of this year, probably at an average cost of around 130. The fund's 105 right now. Getting down to the stock level, I disagree with almost every single buy recommendation that's been mentioned here so far. I think Zoom is a flaming dumpster pile. Their growth rate is going from triple digits to the consensus is they're going to be up 16% next year. It wouldn't surprise me if they're down. There was a lot of pulling forward of demand, and so the revenues are decelerating at a really sharp pace. To pay 13 times sales for something which is going to have, pedestrian revenue growth. I actually think the revenue is going to be down. But more importantly, their earnings are going to be down in 2022, 2023, and 2024. And you say, well, how do you know that, George? Well, it's not just slowing revenue growth. It's also they're going to have to start paying taxes. So why would you pay, 45 times earnings, 50 times earnings for a company that's got down earnings for the next 3 years? The chart is broken. It's owned by all the wrong people. It's one of these narrative-driven stocks where no one's paid attention to valuation. I would run, not walk to short Zoom. Peloton, similar comments. I just want to get into the numbers here. Again, everyone's talking about the charts. No one's doing the work. As Peter Lynch, my former boss, told me, do the work. Peloton's inventories are up 124% year on year, with, I think, sales likely to be down. Like, what could possibly go wrong? I'm sure you guys have all gotten tons of emails, yet with more sales, more incentives. That's another flaming dumpster pile. But my favorite short, so I'm short both of those. Now, admittedly, you got to pick your spots. Yeah, it goes straight down, it can bounce. I'm not a day trader, so I'm not telling you what to do in the next 24, 48 hours. I'm just telling you what the investment is, not what the trade is. And then my favorite short is Robinhood. Someone said earlier they couldn't understand why it's going down. Well, it's real simple. Here's a company. I haven't marked it to market the last few days, but when I looked the other day, it was trading on 13 times falling revenues. Their most recent quarter sales were down because crypto revenues were falling. Even though they added users, number of active users was down 10% last quarter. The average retail investor is getting blown up. Part of the reason the crypto revenues were down was because Dogecoin was collapsing. This thing is 13 times falling sales. It doesn't scale. And here's the best part. Drum roll. Wait for it. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but just roughly speaking, I think if you look at this is order of magnitude. If you look at, there's been, I think the IPO, I want to say, I can't remember, it was 60 million shares or 120 million shares. But anyway, there have been a couple of other lockups recently of 60 million shares. But the best part is, and I think, I can't remember if it's December 1st or December 3rd, all the remaining shares, 568 million of them, become unlocked. And by the way, all these stocks I just mentioned, all massive tax loss selling coming as well. Maybe you'll get a bounce as you get into late December, but talk about taking, managing your tax profile. So anyway, that long story short, I'm sorry to get up on a rant like this, but as you can tell, I got a lot of conviction. I think being small, being humble, and having humility and saying I just don't know. And this idea, like, why is this going down? Well, people were buying stuff up because it was buying up to stuff was up and to the right. The pure momentum plays. The movie's now running in reverse, and all this narrative-based investing, where people are paying no attention to valuation. They also don't realize it implicitly. The last few years, a large part of the returns have come from the fact that you buy these long-duration, high PE assets. As interest rates go up, that kills these stocks. The charts are broken. Their momentum plays. We now have this COVID thing. Yeah, obviously, if the COVID thing gets really bad, rates will go down, blah, blah, blah. Someone said, well, why don't you buy Peloton? You can't do that trick twice. It's one thing if you bought Peloton at 20, nobody owned one. Now it's, at 100, now it's 45 down from 170, and they've overexpanded and they're having to spend more money. So no, I think anything that looks, smells, quacks like Kathy Wood and ARK, which is pretty much all the ticker symbols that have been mentioned in this hour, from PayPal to Zoom to whatever, I would sell every single one of them, and selectively I would short them. Thank you.
I agree with
George,
you about Peloton, right? So 2 weeks back, the pricing was, I think, 2,500. Then they moved that to 2,000, and on the weekend it's down to 1,450. So these guys want anything to get the numbers up, and the price is down 40% in the last 2 months, just after the disastrous earnings. So I agree with that. They're doing everything to get the sales numbers back up the next quarter. So. And they're very, very pushy too. all of the sales now, and they also doubled the commission for the store clerk. So very, very pushy to get the numbers back up.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot going on there. I do agree with you, George. I think there's a lot of confusion in this market. It may not be the time to try to catch a bottom. There definitely, I agree with you, could continue to be like, we don't know what's happening with this current virus. I think you made some great points about the virality of it, about the spread, that could, lean into some other areas. I think the talk with Zoom was more of like the catching, in case of another shutdown, but I hear you with the numbers on that side of things. I am open to, some shorts this week. I think we're looking at like Docu is one that Evan mentioned. But yeah, I mean, good stuff all around. I appreciate you, coming to the table with both conviction as well as, data to back it up. Thanks, George. All right, going to keep it rolling. So let's actually get into play of the week real quick. If anybody's unfamiliar, we haven't actually made a move on this in a couple of weeks, but would love to have a play of the week going again. And the idea behind that is that the Bullish Rippers account, which y'all can see up here, it is the Green Raccoon. That Bullish, and I think Bullish Studios, they're in the crowd as well. Say hi to them. Have sponsored this space and given us the ability to go ahead and grab up some call options. Typically, we go short term. I don't call them YOLO call options because we do our due diligence via these spaces, but it's an opportunity to put something out there. And also, if you're looking at the Bullish Raccoon, that is run by my co-host Evan Stock Market News. There are 41 followers, I believe, from 10K. So it would be amazing if we could get them there. It's really good content coming from the account. They're on a bunch of spaces. It's just very well worth your follow if you're following already Stock Market News. You'll want to be following that account as well so you don't miss more of his content. Let's take a look into play of the week here. I'm open to the short. Evan, any thoughts off the bat?
I'd rather go long Twitter, honestly, or long Square. I think those pose the better opportunities. The problem with the short play is we've been saying that type of stuff, and the new variant is something that could spark that, but it's always when it's going to happen, and the markets can stay irrational for a longer time. I don't know about the short play this week. What I would want to do is maybe an event thing. Definitely the Twitter or Square is an area. I like the play that Gerger whatever said with Square, that it could be an interesting thing. I think Jack Dorsey solely focusing on Square is bullish for the long term, but I think that there's a potential for the market and Wall Street to recognize that in the short term and price it in now.
Yeah, how about you guys look at Activision, ATVI? $60 seems to be a short-term bottom for this one. Like this one came from 104 after misconduct reports by the Wall Street Journal, and how the CEO knew that and tried to hide that. So I think everyone knows that, right? The CEO will be kicked out or left, and the board meeting the next month. So I think after Jack Dorsey, the Bobby guy is the next one to leave. So I think him leaving can be a major catalyst for the company. ATVI, Activision Blizzard. So maybe 65 calls, 70 calls going into January or December 4th week.
I'm not super hot on ATVI. I haven't before, but let's get some thoughts on the chart. Danny, would love to hear your thoughts on Activision Blizzard, and then Ben.
Don't like it. I mean, it's already retraced past the 618 at $65. That likely means we come down to the 786, which is at $53.96. That is right above $50, which was the low back in March, the week of March 16th in 2020. I think it's very likely we're coming back down to 50. I don't see any catalyst to bring this back higher, unfortunately. RSI is oversold. So, we were oversold back in November to January of 2018. That was the last time that these RSI levels were seen, and that started a catalyst of a move back higher. But, I'm not into timing bottoms. We had a nice weekly squeeze that fired down back in August. That has been an excellent short signal. RSI can't break over its trend line. MACD crossed under on March of 21. That was the top. So, I'm not trying to time bottoms here. I'm happy to take a look at it if it starts to round out. but we've had 2 weeks in the past 6 weeks that have been huge selling weeks off that rejection on the 21 weekly moving average. So I think there's much better trades out there than Activision personally. I would avoid it.
Gav, what about the Twitter? I'm looking at the Twitter calls right now. They expired December 17th. $50 strike. It's about $1.99 premium. Stock's moving higher right now, but I think something around there. Maybe even the 23rd is around $2.
So Twitter, you said what strike?
I think he said 50. Yeah, I think he
50.
said 50. Yeah.
I don't know what other people think. Gerg, you're better at the option stuff. 100% looking at that. Maybe the chart setup as well. But it's gonna be an interesting chart.
What if we got leaps? What if we got leaps on Twitter and we did $50 January 7th? Or do we want to just have these short term?
What's the premium on
That's
those?
not really leap. You mean the January 2022s?
They're not really leaps,
Yeah,
yes,
no.
but they are January
It's the same
2022s.
thing.
The premium's 229.
I'm fine with that
230.
one. If anyone has any thoughts, Gerg, do you have any thoughts on which strike we choose? Or if there's anywhere, if we were going to, that you would want to be in?
I'm not bullish. I wasn't bullish on Twitter for a while, but CEO Jack leaving might be the main catalyst. But like you guys always say, right? Twitter is allergic to revenue, but now they're innovating. But let me look at the open interest changes for the day. So let's see. And what expiry do you guys want? January, correct? Or
December or January. Not early
let's see.
December.
Yeah, I'm gonna look
Maybe
at so the best way to look at what's trending is look at the open interest change for heavy. Okay, for Twitter you have okay. So right now the calls with the most volume are the January 70 strike, and right now they're at 20 cents.
I mean, there's no way it hits.
It seems a bit too
So
high. Very
if
high.
I could just
Yeah.
chime in real quickly on the Twitter chart, it doesn't look great, to be honest with you. We on the weekly and on the daily, we are oversold. So I do expect an oversold bounce. Maybe we head back towards $54. I just, even with this catalyst of Jack leaving, I think this is kind of could be a short-term bounce. I don't necessarily, and just historically with Twitter, it's a slow mover. Whether you're going to go to the upside or to the downside, it's had catalysts recently, this year that pushed it pretty high, but you'll notice every time it pushed really high fast, it just sold right off and any gaps were closed. So I do see this as it finished its wave 5 up. We are in ABC correction. And if I'm looking at the weekly chart, I feel down towards $40. But again, that's just from a technical aspect. We're getting rejected off of that 21 monthly moving average right now. That's exactly where we are. We lost it. We tried to recapture it. It needs to be back over $50. I think back over $50, you're in better shape. Under $50, I think it's a gamble.
Yo, Wolfen,
Okay.
I tagged you guys in
Yeah.
a tweet and the picture with the most active options. So number one is the 70 calls. They seem a bit too high. The next are the weekly 50 calls. Excuse me. Then you have the 17 December 52 ones. Then again the 17 December 50 ones. Then 55 weekly, 52 weekly. And the 18 Feb 55 ones looks pretty good. If you think they make a move on the upside. So instead of going for January 50, why not 55 February?
I'm looking at it. So you're saying they're 233 strike the February 18th? 55?
Yeah, February 18th, 55. The volume is up 700% on those right now. 4,000 open interest, so it should be around 7,000 now, yeah. And sell these before 5th of January though, so. Because usually when a month is left, Tatum's gonna eat most of them, so right? If I play options 2 or 3 months out, I like to be out a month before expiry, so get these and I would be out before 15th of January. But personally, I wouldn't be taking any calls on Twitter.
Okay. Ben, I want to throw it back to you to get involved with this. I know that you're familiar with our play of the week. Any ideas on perhaps any weeklies here?
Uh, are are we just talking about a specific? Are we still talking about Twitter or a specific stock, or are we just saying what would I be looking at?
Yeah, I think we're just ideating. Yeah, we're just ideating
Oh,
here. Something that you would be looking at.
yeah,
Typically, we have up to about a $500 budget on
I
this.
understand. And like I hate telling other people what to do, but I love sharing what I do. And I kind of do the opposite. I don't look for stuff that's going down to the right. Especially when we have a market that's coming in, I'm kind of looking at, okay, what held up? What did different from the major averages? And a lot of the ones that I mentioned are like Matterport's now up 13% on the day. That's one that held up very well when the market was coming down. It was showing relative strength. You knew there were buyers in there. So I kind of look at those names, what's holding up well, especially when the market's coming in. Those kind of stand out. So the ones I mentioned earlier, Matterport, AEHR's up 5%. One I would keep an eye on. It did come in, but it's at kind of dancing around the 50-day moving average. I think that's one that can bounce there. Tesla, Tesla's up 5%, almost 5% now. And it's one that's held up great compared to the general market. And it kind of fits the theme we were talking about earlier with big cap tech outperforming. So you want to kind of for me anyway, I try to put all of that together. Another one that we haven't talked about at all yet that has good numbers and is coming into an area that I think it may bounce is coin. I don't know what your view is on crypto in the short term, but I kind of like this big cup with handle pattern that's formed on coin. You're kind of coming up. You're within the handle right now. Didn't quite come down to the 50-day moving average, but that $300 level did hold. So if that reclaims at 1020, I love coin, especially if you're bullish on crypto here. I think coin has the fundamentals behind it too. I mean, you have triple digit earnings growth, triple digit revenue growth. It has the new factor. You got almost 700% growth in EPS this year. So that's a name I'll throw out there that we haven't really discussed.
Okay, interesting. I'm going to go to Bobby for comment on that, and then I will say I'm feeling a little spicy. I'm, a little inspired. Maybe there's a short in here. Listen. The one time that we shorted was Skills, I think, or something like that, and we got it. We made like 60%. So maybe there's something here. But Bobby, what did you have to say?
Yeah, Ben, I totally agree with Coin. But another one, and I know I joined late. Have you guys talked about CRM with your earnings coming tomorrow? It's holding.
We have
It's
not.
holding. It's holding its 50-day moving average, and I know one of the listeners, George. I was very impressed with when he spoke a few moments ago, and actually, I kind of wanted his take on the earnings for tomorrow. They look bullish. If we're talking about weekly stock pick, that one could be huge.
So okay, so that's another
Yeah.
long there. Danny, what do you think about the CRM chart?
Not familiar with it. It's not a sticker that I trade, but let me just take a quick look at it. Looks like it's pulling into a 1618 at 282, bounced off of that. So it looks pretty good. We had a nice inverted hammer on Friday, bouncing off of that 55 EMA. Didn't quite get to oversold conditions on RSI. Looks pretty good. I mean, it's holding its cloud support right now. I think, it's tricky. I don't personally advise playing earnings. And kind of one of the rules I use with earnings, if I have profit going into earnings, I use one or two methods of staying in or getting out. Basically, if I have more than 10% profit in the trade, I will stay in. Or if I have more than the expected weekly move for options contracts, I will stay in. Outside of that, I don't like to hold through earnings. And I certainly don't like to buy before earnings, and much rather, like Ben likes to talk about, wait for the earnings either discount or wait for the gap up and treat it as a peg play. There will be opportunities if this thing gaps up to just slap an anchored VWAP right on that gap up candle and watch it for a week or two. Watch how price action works around the anchored VWAP. You don't have to chase these stocks. You don't have to gamble. There are ways to play earnings without playing earnings.
Okay. I definitely see some opportunities here, but again, I'm feeling maybe there's some short plays here. Juicy, what's going on, man? Play of the week. Any short ideas?
Man, I can't give you any right now. I just think this market, if you look at SPY today, intraday, is literally like flatlining. So for me, if it chops around like this, it's going to be all about what happens tomorrow. You know, which way we break the consolidation of today. To me, I'm just, at this point, I'm just laid back playing my scanners, day trading a lot. I had to literally bite the nail because I've been watching MTTR go up. It's very clean. I missed my entry. Check out ticker MTTR. It's a metaverse play. It's very, very clean. It's breaking out of a flag right now, and I'm still just like itching not to pull the trigger because I kind of missed that. But besides that, I'm pretty much cash. I did throw a lotto on here on Twitter. Got some 50 calls for weeklies. It's a very small lot to see what it does. Besides that, I'm pretty much cash. Watching Tesla. What's Tesla doing right here? It's 11:40. I have a trigger. Hold up, pull on it right now. Hold up, Tesla. Yeah. Look at Tesla here in a 5 minute. You break this 11:40, you got room to 11:75. But yeah, I'm just day trading, guys. I'm not no long term plays for me.
Okay. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, MTTR is one that I got in and out of a little bit back on some options, but it was great. It was great for options. That was right when Facebook changed their name. Maybe I should have gone a little bit longer on that. Okay, Evan, bringing you back into this. What are you thinking? Long, short? Any plays that you like off the bat?
Well, it seems like we're not going down the Twitter route. Sorry. So I did put in a call option for myself for my personal account. So I guess weekly in that, we'll see what happens there. I'm fine with either play on it.
If it goes up, I'll take 50%.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. Where I'm at with it, like if
Yeah,
we're
I
gonna
will
play,
play if you guys wanted a ski play.
go for it, Dirk. Go for it.
AI puts. So AI has earnings, and historically, all of the earnings were red, and the average move was 10% on downside. I do have some comments that I've been buying, but I did buy some puts as an hedge. So, but if you look at the chart and the past three earnings, that's all they had. All of them were red, down 10% on average. And the earnings on the first, so
These type of things scare me where it's so beaten down and then they have like a semi decent earnings and you get that gap up. What do you think, Danny?
What was the ticker?
AI, C3
AI?
AI, and the expected move.
Yeah,
Yeah,
AI's been tricky. I like it. It's just not ready. It's in a steady downtrend. It's at the bottom of its downtrend range. But yeah, it's just, like Ben was talking about, I look for stocks that are moving up. I'm not trying to necessarily time a bottom. I mean, I think a great example of this is oh man, I forget MGNI, right? It was a darling of growth stocks. Look at the chart now. I mean, you think it's in a really nasty, complex wave for correction, but that thing has just been going down and to the right for over a year. I'm more interested in the stocks that are like take a look at AutoNation, ticker AN. I don't hear anybody talking about this. Beautiful setup, nice ascending triangle right into its 132 pivot. I mean, this thing is going to get ready to break out in the next couple of weeks, and when it does, it's probably going to go upwards of 150. But again, it's not a sexy play. It's not a name that a lot of people are talking about. Those are the types of stocks that I'm looking at. I'm looking at things that are coiling, ready to kind of explode higher.
And I'll just add to what
Okay.
Danny said there. That group too is fantastic. GPI is another one in that group, similar type pattern, ascending triangle. When a whole group looks the same and holds up well and all looks ready to break out, that's another thing you want to pay attention to.
Ben, don't get me started on cars, please. Please don't get me started on cars.
and so are you guys playing this? So in the longer term, I'm long AI, but in the short term, I got some purchases to hedge. So the chart and the past earnings say otherwise. And for me, I'm buying these. What? Here we go. Yeah, 35 puts. I bought them at 290 and expired December 17th. So they don't have weekly options. The closest one they have is on the 17th of December. And the 35 strike seems to be the best one with the open interest and the predicted move. This one is the most likely to be in the money. So
Okay, interesting. So, Evan, do you want to play something that has earnings this week?
I am down. Let's just make the disclaimer before that, like, if we weren't doing something for trade of the week, if we were kind of just doing our normal strategies, I think everyone up here, Gerg might do some more advanced option strategies around earnings, but no one here would actively tell you to trade around earnings. It's a loser's game. The best way to do it, if you are going to do it and you want to and need to, is to react to after the numbers have come out to a possible overreaction. But I would not trade around earnings normally unless it was this type of style, but I am down to do it. I would love to maybe talk about the short Docusign.
So let's talk about shorting Docusign. This was your play of the week. What was your reasoning behind it again?
So it's very similar in the themes that have been happening, and that made me the 2 out of 4 time champ for a trade of the week. But just the Zooms, the Pelotons, or whatever, getting really destroyed after earnings. Kind of just the environment we've been in. And I think that the Omicron has maybe changed the macro environment a little bit, where maybe the setup is a little bit better for a DocuSign. But what it also could have done is raise the expectations a tiny bit, where we still may see that similar theme in the earnings and the numbers themselves.
Very interesting. Okay. I'll throw it over to our resident chartist. Ben, any thoughts on going short Docu here? Or puts?
I could actually get behind that. It's below the 50-day. It's below the 200-day. The trend is down. Let's see. Earnings and sales still good, but decelerating. Kind of reminds me of some of those others before they collapsed. I mean, at least you're looking at something here that it does look toppy to me. And like I said, trading below the 50-day and kind of just below the 200-day moving average, it does make more sense to me than some of the others we discussed.
The one thing I will say about it is that they are a little pricey, Evan. So we would be looking, if we were, let's say, staying semi in budget, we'd be looking all the way down to like a 230 put. Gerg, I would love for you to kind of weigh in on this
so
as
I'm
well.
looking.
Do you see that as too
So you're
far out?
looking at the things, right? So the expected move from this is 7.6%. So this leaves you anywhere between 225 and 260. So 231 seems a bit too far because let's look last 3 earnings, right? Last earnings they were around 5%. Before that it jumped 20%, and before that it was down 6%. So, and before that it was up 5%. So 3 out of the last 4 earnings, the average move was 5%. And with the IV so high, you will likely lose money if the move is under 5%. So, this,
Yeah, 109% IV is not great.
I mean, it's not that high for Docusign, but if you go to that price point, it's 8% out of the money. Yeah, it seems unlikely to. I think most likely this goes to 0.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, interesting there. Yeah, I don't like it at that high of a implied volatility as well. And they're definitely a bit expensive, but it sounds like we have a lot of names on the docket here. So maybe Evan, maybe we put it up to a poll. What do you think?
Yeah, you should do AI puts versus Docu puts, and I can guarantee AI will win by a landslide.
We can throw a couple of longs in there, and so those can be the 2 puts, and then we can maybe do like long Twitter and a long CRM in
I
there.
do want to say
What do you
one
think,
good
Evan?
thing about C3 AI is that it is around $40, which means the options are definitely going to be cheaper than a lot of the other ones, which might be nice. But yeah.
Yes.
Okay, CSDR, did you have a comment?
I was going to chime in with a short,
Vex.
potentially, yeah, VIX.
Yeah,
Potentially,
stop pumping your position, TSDR.
yeah, I'm gonna pump the VIX or dump the VIX.
Dump the Vex and UVX file.
So UPS, Amazon
Yeah.
came out with their news that they're gonna be the was it leading delivery or freight distributor, whatever, today, which I thought was kind of expected news. Sorry for some background noise. But I'm looking at UPS specifically on the hourly. We have been in this downward channel, you could call it, since this earnings gap up, what I believe is earnings gap up on Tuesday, 10/26. And we have since broken out of that, and we are coming back and kind of trying to retest the bottom trend line here. So I'm going to be looking at this. If we get into a pop into around 205, maybe even a little bit higher than that, I'll be looking for some weakness to take this to the downside. My target will probably be around the 50-day moving average, around 199. So I think there's a potential options trade to be made to the downside on UPS in the coming days. And then another one that I am looking at, I have been watching for a couple weeks now, is Pubmatic, PUBM. It has been consolidating in this earnings gap up for about 2 weeks now and holding pretty well above this 35 level. And we actually just recently got about a $1.50 move on it from about 37.80 to about 39, almost 40. I think if we can get this to break between 40 and 40-60ish, 40-50ish, I think we could see a good breakout on this up over $45 towards $50 in the next month or so. That's what I got. Also, I was looking at Trade Desk TTD. It has been kind of consolidating, holding above the 9 EMA. I really like the look on the hourly. If we can get this about over 110 again, I like this for a push over all-time highs in the coming weeks as well. So those are three that I'm looking at for some trades to be made.
It's definitely a really interesting stuff there. UPS and some of the others that you mentioned. So keeping an eye on those. One thing I just want to mention real quick for anybody who hasn't checked already. So the new CEO for Twitter, Paraga, is the username, is already up 20,000 followers today. His follower count literally doubled from 22K to 44K in the last 2 hours.
I
mean,
we should have went long that
So he'll
name.
probably see.
Can we buy calls on this account?
Yeah.
Seriously, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm on the phone with JP Morgan to create a derivatives exposure currently. So just hold on for me. I've got a contact. That's actually what my CFO at Wolf used to do. So maybe I'll have to ask him. Okay, let's see if there's anything else over here to look at. I feel like we have a lot of really good ideas. I kind of don't have a conclusive, I just want to make this move on one of them. I think we're going to put it to a poll, to be honest. Evan, that way we kind of actually have to hold to something. And you know what? We YOLO some money, and what happens, happens. I'm continuing to watch, order flow today, and just see what happens there. Continuing to see bullish activity on things like NVIDIA and the large caps. So if we're going to do something that's a small cap, I am more comfortable doing the short, because I just don't see the money flow going to them unless you're going to play like the metaverse or a couple of these other plays that are getting more activity than some others. Just real quick, looking at the Finviz scanner again, it's very clear that this is like, everybody should take a look at this, finviz.com/map. You can see Tesla, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple. These are the biggest ones because they're large market caps, and they're all green. And then you have that semiconductor area where you have like NVIDIA and QCOM and Avgo and NXPI, MCHP. They're all green, and you have software. But then you just go and you're like entertainment, It's all red except for Live Nation, even though some people died at some of their concerts. And then you have financials, you have credit services, banks, pretty much all red. Capital markets red. Um, farm, heavy C, that's red. And then, real estate kind of mixed. And then oil and gas. It bounced back today, but it's certainly come down from where it was. So I just continue to see a very top heavy market here. If we're going to go with something that's not a large cap, I'm looking short. And, maybe we'll be wrong, but hey, at least if we're wrong, my other positions will go up and the short will peter out. But if we go long and we're wrong, then I'm just screwed all the way around. Okay. With that monologue being done, Evan, anything else that we missed there? We can go back to just like, I don't want to focus totally on just this. We can go back to seeing some charting, some opportunities in the market, but I did want to get a good segment in there and give another shout out to Bullish Rippers, who is inching closer to 10K. They're now 34 followers from 10K, so good stuff there. Anything else, Evan? Although Bullish Rippers is actually not up here anymore. Looks like the account got moved down below. Okay. All right. Well, I'm waiting for. What'd you say?
Sorry, man. I'm lagging. I'm having so many troubles with spaces this morning on the back end. I'm trying not to talk about it too much, but yeah. No, I think that was great with Trade of the Week. The only thing that we should talk about on some of these plays is the amount of money that we're gonna have to spend on them. Like a Docusign option is going to be expensive, but we could talk about that on the back end, and I think a poll is a great way to do it, and we can keep moving. I have time to chill up here. I'm down to do whatever we got going.
Yeah, can we do that right now? And Biden starts in 20 minutes, so I think that's what the markets are flat. They want to wait for him.
Yeah, I'm not in a rush. This is the only space I'm going to be able to do today because I have this space, and then I have, well, I guess at like 12 I have to go eat something because then I just have like some meetings, some team meetings, and then I have interviewing a couple potential interns, and then I'm flying to Miami. So this is my thing for today. But yeah, what's Biden gonna be? What's going down there, Gerg? I didn't even.
He's talking about
read about that.
effect.
Yeah, so Biden to deliver remarks and provide an update on the new variant starts in 19 and a half minutes.
Okay. And did you say you'd want to buy before then?
No, so the market, right? That's why it's almost flat right now. All of the major indexes, I think, are waiting for Biden to speak. So that's what the volume seems to be. The volume seems to be that, right? So just because of this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking down like my watch list that I put together for this morning is just, yeah, I mean, it's either down, there's a little bit up, Gush is still up 2.5%, Nvidia up 3%, SoFi up 0.7, and Tesla up 5%. SPY's up about 1%, HUT 1.7%, Coin 3.65%. But then most of the rest of it's down. Oh, here's a name that I wanted to throw at you, Ben, or Juicy also. I'd love to appreciate you just hanging out and chilling. Of course, to my speakers, if you ever have a comment, feel free to raise your hand, or just, wave at me kind of thing. I'm just kind of trying to deal with a lot right here. A couple of screens, charting, randomness. So MQ is a name that, more people have been kind of whispering to me, and it seems to usually find support. I mean, I guess it's only been down here once or twice beforehand. But can you take a look at MQ, Ben? Let me know your thoughts.
Yeah, this is an area that needs to hold. Like so many others, I've lost money in MQ. It seems to deteriorate when it looks its best. So maybe now when it looks its worst is when it will bounce. But yeah, this $20 level has acted as support. You're playing with fire there because if it does break, I think 1978 was that prior low, and if that fails, I could see this really getting hit hard into new lows. But on the other hand, yeah, if this level does hold, just keep that stop tight because that 1978 level fails, things could get ugly quick. Because I know there's, a lot of people are really high on this name, but the chart, just tells me otherwise.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's definitely a little bit all over the place. Okay, Juicy, any thoughts on MQ or, anything else? Just going back to we got 700 people in here chilling. I think they're all listening for maybe some ideas, thoughts on the market. Let's give it to them. What do you got, Juicy?
I just got to say, I agree with Ben with the whole MQ thing. When this first came out, everybody was high on life with this damn stock. Now it's like every time it sets up, it just rug pulls or it bounces when it looks like it's going to short. So me personally, when you get a stock like that, I tend to actually just stay away from it. So my triggers is I got this inside of a long range, right? So I'll look to take MQ above 2265 high a day from 1123, and basically that same low 1988 is where I take it short. But while we're in this little range here, I'm not really gonna touch it. For me, it's choppy, man. This is real choppy. I'm watching Tesla again for that 1140 break. If it breaks 1140, technically you got room to 1175, but you really don't have any enough volume on the stock to push it. So I'm kind of hesitant to even take it if it breaks. Nvidia sideways, Google sideways. Man, fuck, everything is sideways. The only thing that's really moving here is MTTR, which I like a lot actually. It's not a great day, man. For me, this is the type of day where in my past, I've lost money. Right, when you get the market sideways with no direction, like right now, look at Q's, the Nasdaq futures ticker QQQ, trying for this higher day again. Let's see if we can get the break here. It's breaking. Let's see if it holds. Every time we come to this area, we pull right back. So for me, it's kind of like I'd recommend staying away from a lot of this stuff. But no comments for me. I'm not giving out any advice because this is not my market.
Okay, yeah, I definitely hear you. It sounds like, we're continuing to go on this common theme of the market will be flat as we wait to see what is happening with this call. I'm basically flat right now. I have a couple call options that are up today. I'm holding MRVL $75 calls. They are, literally flat. They were just at 0%. And then I'm holding GNI $10 calls, hoping for that move back to 10, which I do think will come. It's above 10, which always hits me as so annoying when the stock is literally trading above what I, has as a strike, but it goes under. Sorry to anybody who hears my dog barking in the background. I don't know if she's going crazy out, but I'm going to throw it back to, okay, real quick. So Nick, you've been chilling with us. You've been quiet. Is there anything that you wanted to add in?
No, just looking around here, scrolling through Twitter, talking and seeing about Jack Dorsey isn't leaving Square. So that's a good thing. And just watching CNBC Tech Check, looking at the data, seeing some new 52-week lows here, Diz down, Visa, Verizon. Looking over the spending card data from MasterCard, they put that out earlier this morning, and it looks like a lot of people went back out to shopping. And not surprised because I know Black Friday shopping near me was busy. I actually went Black Friday shopping, didn't buy too many things, but was looking at that. There's also just some news out this morning that Disney reaches 100 million subscribers across their streaming services. That's from the Streamable. So I was just looking at that. But no, Funstrat's on CNBC. He was talking over the weekend about buying the dip. So we're just going to watch that. Just great conversations going on with Ben and you guys. Love being in these spaces.
Absolutely. All right, I saw a couple of hands. Ben?
Hey, I was just going to throw another name at you, and it goes with your Miami NFT tour that you're going on as Playboy, PLBY. The setup, you had a power earnings gap. It's kind of flagging, kind of reminds me a little bit of Matterport, how it's flagging. Just went red to green, starting to come out of that little flag. If you attach anchored VWAP to that power earnings gap, you kind of came right there today, this morning, the high, and tag that. If you can push through that, I think it has a good chance to move higher. 30, I'm talking my book now just to put that out there, but 37.86 I think was the high this morning. You push through that, you're back above anchored VWAP from off the power earnings gap. And there is that kind of NFT angle to it with their library and history. So just one I thought I'd throw out there.
Very interesting. Yeah, there is going to be a lot of NFT stuff going on. If anybody is in Miami across the next week, plenty of parties, stuff on yachts, things along those lines. Definitely excited to be down there and enjoying. But yeah, Playboy, this one that has, I feel like, been brought back onto the radar. maybe the cups forming here, I guess, a little bit. I haven't actually thrown an anchored VWAP on here, but yeah, now I see it. So you were just talking about the anchored VWAP from the high there?
Yeah, you're above the anchored VWAP from the high, the 6304. You're above anchored VWAP from the low. You're above anchored VWAP year to date. But on the power earnings gap that you had, you're right there. Today's high was, it tagged it and then came back below. So what I'm looking for is the reclaim of that. So if you can push back above that anchored VWAP from off the power earnings gap, that's what I look for. That's what tells me that buyers are back in control.
Okay. Interesting stuff. Yeah, I like the LBY. That's one that, has definitely been on the radar and most people have brought up. And once it, started having a 200-day moving average, it was kind of felt like that was the resistance and support. And then it got above it nicely. And, now I think a little bit of consolidation here, but plenty of action and volume at these levels. $23.39 million, right around like 38 to 39 range. So I like that. And then, of course, with that anchor VWAP, I'm sure, Brian Shannon would definitely have some thoughts on how this is trading here.
And
he loves
I'll
to get
just
in
add
on
that
these.
this is another one trading, when it's trading at or above the 10-day, 20-day moving average, when most other things are trading below the 50-day moving average, showing you relative strength.
Good points. Juicy, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to point out Biden's about to speak here, deliver remarks on COVID, on this new variant. So just be careful here. Though we don't know what he's going to say. The word COVID seems to be the market mover lately. So just be careful. So I'm pretty much flat into this. I'm going to wait for him to say something to see what happens.
Ooh, interesting stock that's going on right now. If anybody hasn't seen this, BioFrontera, this must be getting pump and dump somewhere. BFRI, it's a biopharmaceutical company, but holy cow, look at this morning. Up 28% pre-market, dropped at 9:50 a.m. to down 18.5%, and is currently back up to 21%. How often do you see things like
No,
this?
the funny thing on the month, right? I think it IPO'd at $1. It went to $6. Then it sold off to 225, and from that it's up to 50% in the last 3 days.
Yeah, and they dropped an offering at 575. I think was the price, 571 maybe, about 2 minutes right before the open, which is what brought it down after its pre-market run.
Yeah. Hey, Evan, how's that Twitter call doing?
I was just about to throw out there, Twitter is now negative on the day. I did add a second call, and I am down on both.
I wouldn't still add the calls.
No, I'm not anymore. Listen, I want to reiterate this to everyone in the crowd. For me, I'm doing this. This is the sports betting money. This is me gambling on the side of my portfolio. It's such a small position in my overall portfolio. This is just, me short term having fun on the side. Honestly, the people up here, learning lessons from them, you can make this bet and do so much better with this money. This is just kind of me having a little bit of fun on the side. I do want to stress that. But yeah.
I love Twitter,
Oh, yeah.
but Twitter is allergic to revenue and holding the gains. Like, if you see a big move, it gives it all up next day.
Well, now that my man Parag is in there, hopefully we'll get some revenue
We should get
hunting.
him on here to pump Twitter for options.
Let's see. So he doesn't follow. I don't know if I have any connections to him. I'll try to work something in while he's still, small time and doesn't have
If
the
he
jack
gets,
jack ego.
if he goes to the jack level, you'll never get him. But
He's up another 14,000 followers since I mentioned that he was up 100% in followers.
damn, bro, the call would be crazy right now.
Yeah,
50,
yeah. My man
don't
is
do
my man.
overtake me. He had 20K, so pretty good.
So he hasn't really been tweeting. I mean, he tweeted out 39 minutes ago the email that he sent to the company accepting the CEO position, and it's straight fluff. The whole email is fluff. There's hashtags love where you work in it. I don't know. There is nothing. Hashtag one team. My man is just straight fluff email. There's no information in there about what he's going to be doing. Danny, What's up?
No, I just wanted to mention LRCX having a beautiful morning. It is now breaking over its range, up 3.5%. Watch when it gets to 670 to 674. I think it's going to get really, really interesting. But yeah, it's showing really good relative strength. And on a day where the market is choppy and sideways, you want to look to see where the relative strength is. Where are the stocks that are up 3, 4, 5% plus? Look at LAC, Lithium America Corp, up 12%, mRNA up 9%, Matterport up 14, almost 15%, Tesla up 5%. So, when you have these down days, you don't have to force any trades, but you should watch to see where relative strength is, because once the market does start to turn, these names are going to push even higher.
Good points. Before I go to Juicy, real quick, my personal account, again, for anybody who is listening, I try to be very transparent with who I am. I'm not just a nod behind a Wolf account. Wolf is the company that I work for. I have the pleasure of running this account full time. I basically treat it as my personality, but my personal account, the Goff Blacksburg account, is up here as co-host and is now at 6,999. So if anybody wants to be a 7,000 follower, I will appreciate you forever. Okay, with that being said, Juicy, I saw your hand up.
It's kind of delayed, but I caught NVIDIA break at 327. I got the 330 calls here. I'm up, 12%. Going into Biden speak, I'm going to drag the stop to break even. I also bought MTTR. I bought the 30s, December 17th calls right here on the bounce of this 9 EMA. I was stalking this, but today I was doing other things, and I missed my original entry. So when I miss the entry, I wait for it to pull back either to the 21 or the 9 EMA, depending on how much volume's there. For a re-entry, so I just got in those. I plan to hold those MTTR calls, but NVIDIA is going to be real tight. But that's it. I was raising my hand to let you guys know that.
So are you pretty far in the green with these MTTR calls, and that's why you're holding? Because I've been eyeing it,
I'm only up
for some potential
I'm only up 4% here.
Okay, so you kind of came in on this little like dip and break
Intraday,
right here. And what level and date are those?
I got the 30 December 17th.
Okay, interesting, not bad. And what kind of pushed you over the edge with that? Do you see a lot of volume there?
Yeah, a ton of if you look up any flow platform, whether you use Unusable Wells, Trading Ticks, Cheddar Flow, there's a lot of these things out here. There's a ton of options flow coming into these. Let me tell you again. I posted it too.
Let me take
a look
at that.
They're buying the 35s, the 30s, and the 20s, all for December 17th.
Ooh, that is a lot of call option flow.
All
Holy
of them hit cow.
Yeah,
so I'm not. That's not the only reason why I'm doing that. I'm doing it because of the technical break on the day chart plus
MTTR.
the flow.
MQ?
Yeah, MTTR.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it went under. Come on, can I get it at 395? Let's see.
On the common on that MTTR, the volume run rate, and this is on the common, is plus 360%. So you've done more than a whole day's average volume right now.
I like the play. I'm in. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, just a heads up, because I've been in Matterport for quite some time right now. I'm going to start scaling out over 3278. That's our 1272 extension. I think we could run up to 3885, but I've been holding January calls for probably about a month and a half now, and I've just been adding and kind of playing intra weeklies and rolling profit into those longer terms. So those are up well over 500% now. But yeah, just be careful on Matterport. I think between 32 and 38, we got some fib extensions that are going to play into this. We've already been extended past our TTM squeeze firing, and we're working our way up to overbought conditions on RSI, although I see that as pretty bullish.
Yeah, I would say for me this is going to be a scalp. I hate that the fact that the second I get in it, whatever drops 5%, it's fine. I always love to see green right off the bat so I can just throw my stop in. But I'm keeping a close eye on that. And yeah, this would be a quick in and out. I could see myself getting out of this today. I don't need a lot of profit, to be honest. For anybody that's in the audience, if you're sitting here and It's awesome. Danny has 500% profit, but I do not need that. I do not need 100% profit. If you are just searching for that all the time, I think you're not going to know when to sell. Honestly, this thing, gives me 20%. I might just get out, right? Like there's green, cool, profit. Let me get out. That's the only trade that I've even placed today. That's the first one that I took. Was right
You
there.
Gav,
And so let's
congrats
see what
on
happens.
7K.
Yeah.
Just hit that.
Congrats on selling what?
7,000. Just hit that right now.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that. Yeah, somebody came in. Shout out to RIGO, Rigo, and they
Let
gave
me
me.
unfollow
Yeah.
you and follow you back, so I'll be there at the 7,001. Here we go.
Okay, thanks, bud. You gotta use your alt accounts too. You'll have to take a few off. Yo, Bobby, what's going
So I'm
on?
looking at another weekly for the contest for the week, and Microsoft. There's a lot of attention on the December 3rd. This week's calls for the 340s, almost 15,000 volume today, as opposed to the open interest was 9,400. So that's interesting. It's up 65% for the day. I like to, and the 65-minute chart looks really nice because it's right above that the largest volume profile shelf. So that might be bullish heading into Friday.
What time does Biden start speaking?
It's unknown. I got the YouTube. I put the link out on Twitter, so you can guys click on that link.
It was supposed to start right now, just now.
Yo, pretty cool stuff, by the way. For anybody, I've been starting to measure the metrics from our spaces. We've had over 3,770 people come through here. Not obviously all at once, but love to see that. We've also been running for over 2.5 hours now, or almost 2.5 hours. So good times all around. All right, NTTR doing a little bit of up and down. Obviously now I'm going to be watching that. But yeah, the call volume is just like, whoa on NTTR. Like people are just sweeping in. I mean, a $350,000 was put on the December 17th $30 ones. So obviously they're going a little bit even more in the money, I think, than no, that's the one that we took was the same one. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested to see kind of where this can roll. Juicy, do you have a stop set on it or just watching?
For me, I'm looking for it to stay above 30. I want to
Okay.
stay
Yeah.
above 30. A lot of it's because I have the December 17th. Well, that's the closest you can get is December 17th. So as long as it stays above 30, I'm staying in the trade. But I do agree with everybody, Ben and Danny. This is going to depend on your position here. So for me, green on the day, throwing some profits from the day into this trade. I don't have my full 100 lot position. I have 15, and that's with profits. So for me, if it stops me out, I'm cool with that as long as it stays above these areas here.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes
the
sense.
was so high for this. Why not buy MTTR at 31 and sell 30 calls for $4? So your cost base is 28 right away. No, 27.5. Like that seems like a better trade
One more
right now,
time.
right? Like right now you can buy MTTR at 31 and sell the 30 calls for $4.
I do not have the capital to buy 100 shares right now of MTTR. I am too allocated already.
Too much UPS.
I don't just have.
Did you buy more UPST or the Celsius?
Actually, I've been going. No, actually, I added to my last big ad was to DMY. Is it S?
DMY
I think the one that we.
SPAC and DMYQ is the Planet one, I think. Did you buy
Yeah.
10 or 11?
To DMYS?
No, which one did you buy? The DMYS is a NASDAQ with no deal?
I own both.
Oh, okay.
I own both. I have DMYS at $10.01.
Yeah, so I have a buy order still at $10, and I bought in a lot at $10. So this guy is the best performing SPAC sponsor, and all of his SPACs have gone to 25 so far. Does this mean all of his next SPACs will go there? Nah. But does he like do good deals and good valuation shares? So like this guy doesn't get greedy to get like Like this guy won't raise $2, $3, $4 billion back, right? Because this guy and his team they specialize in $200 to $400 million equity infusion. So these guys don't go big
Yeah,
yet.
Nicole
And
Demasi.
yeah,
We did a space with him
yeah, last
actually
week,
last
yeah.
week for anybody who missed that. Matterport breaking out. What are you looking at, Juicy?
I'm just rocking out with my sorry guys. I'm just rocking out my main two, which is MTTR and Nvidia. Still on both. This GOEV thing, I kind of missed this. This is all over the scanners right now. The fuck is this? Hold up. GOEV.
I got in and out of that like oh no, Canoe? Interesting. Wow, what a month.
But yeah, so you know the main reason for this? The insiders have been loading out. Like the CEO is very, very bullish. And I don't get that. The cars are very, very ugly. So, but the
Watch
insiders have been loading out.
watch MTTR to
What's that, Ben?
3278.
Oh, yeah.
3278 MTTR. Watch that level.
Yeah, I'm currently up 10% on those calls. 11.5%. So 3278 you said?
Yeah, it's the 1272 extension off of the all-time high to low.
So what happens there?
Usually you'll see a little bit of hesitancy going into that level. You might break above it a little bit. When I'm looking at the lower time frames, I'm just going to watch to see how it reacts on that level. If it blows through that level, then we're on our way to $35. But I don't think it will blow through the level, especially with the move that we've already had on the day. So I'm just watching for that particular level for like a short-term play to basically scale out there. And then just watch what it does over the next couple of days and see if we break over 32. If we break over 32.78 and we get a daily close over that level, then my next target is going to be 38.85 for a potential wave 5 top.
Okay. Interesting stuff. Yeah, it's certainly, I mean, it's having a little bit of resistance here, it looks like. But nothing too crazy just yet. Would love to see that continuation of the volume. TSDR, have you placed any other trades today?
I'm down for the day trading actually. So I haven't taken anything for the past half an hour. For the past hour or so day trading. I did add some DMYQ about 15 minutes ago at 10:20. Just because I mean you kind of have to risking roughly 2% give or take. I felt like it was a good spot to add on DMYQ.
Yo, TSDR, even though I'm long this, the floor is gone in like 4 or 5 days. So I think this might go to $8, $9. Like his previous pack too, right? I think which one was IONQ, right? ION?
Yep.
Yeah. Even that went to $8, 750. So right after the merger close. So
Okay. That's
this might make a similar move.
that's coming up in a couple days, you said?
Yeah, the vote, right?
Okay,
So
thanks.
usually with SPACs, right, the floor is gone 2 days before the vote, as most of your brokers they do T+2 settlement, and even if you file a claim to redeem your shares, and the vote is in 2 days, your claim might not go through, and you might not get the money back. So it's usually 2 or 3 days before. So usually if the vote is on Friday, you should be filing the claim to redeem your shares by Wednesday at the max.
So my cost basis in DMYQ is probably close to 840. As I've been selling covered calls against it.
Oh, okay.
So
Pretty good. Okay.
So I'm pretty comfortable. I wish I should have known that. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have added there. I probably still would have. I wanted a couple more shares.
Oh yeah, but till then, right? Till then, the 10 floor is there, so you might see a move back to allowance. So you made almost 7% risk free. So looking at the risk and reward, it's pretty good. So
Yeah.
But I like the target, like Planet. I've been using it for a while, so pretty good company.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like it a lot. I think it will make the stock will make a similar move. Not necessarily. I wouldn't say a similar move to IonQ because that's pretty intense. But I think it'll make a good move to the mid-teens at least afterwards.
Oh, I agree with you. But
What are you What are you using Planet for, Gerg?
So if you go right now, right, you can go and sign up. I'm gonna show you my login credentials. Let me, here we go. But it's just like Google Maps with steroids, right? So you can
Thanks.
track everything. And they also have their own network like Bloomberg, so
But otherwise, the trades that I took today, I had a short on mRNA via options, and believe it, pretty quickly after at the open, once we got that spike over the highs over 375, and then the rejection back down, is when I took the position. I ended up I ended up losing money on this somehow, and then LI, I took. I was looking for that break over 36. Would have been an ORB. We pushed right at that level multiple times. Ended up failing, coming back. Stopped out of that. Those are the only two trades that I took. I oversized those trades. So shame on me for that. Yeah, missed Nvidia. I was staring at Nvidia, and I thought, I didn't think it had the legs to necessarily go. The VIX was still hanging around where the 1770 level at the time, and then sure enough, this is why I took for the play of the week last night. I wish I got to explain it a little bit more, but this is why I took that UVXY trade, is because I think the VIX is something that you have to have up on your screens if you're day trading, because it plays such a key role in follow through in trades. For example, once about 25 minutes ago, once the VIX broke down, or I'm looking at UVXY specifically, but once we broke down under this 1760 level and continued pushing down past the low of the days and further, and then go look at NVIDIA. I mean, it's a complete opposite chart of this. So this would have been a perfect trade to take if you're watching the VIX, being okay, VIX is breaking down, NVIDIA is breaking out. We might get some follow through on this. Could have taken it, right at that 325 spot off the 9 EMA after it, held the VWAP about 10 minutes earlier, and immediately you got, $3, almost $4 follow through. And on options, if that, on, like Juice said, he took the 330s. He's probably up pretty well on this trade. And I think the VIX had played a significant role in the follow through on this trade. So something I want to bring to people's attention that I use significantly.
Wolf,
Awesome.
if I send
Juicy?
you a DM about the planet, can you DM your location? I can pull that up there. But if you want to just try that, you can go and sign up for free.
I feel comfortable sending you my location, so sure.
No, yeah. I mean, any location, but you can go and sign up on Planet for free.
All right,
Yeah.
I'll send you Evan's location so you can tell me what he's doing.
But yeah, I'll pull that up on the Planet satellites.
Perfect. Okay, who had their hand up? Was it you, Juicy?
Yeah, I actually want to agree with TSDR. Like the VIX, you got to have that on your screen. Like I keep a panel, and by the way, I just cut half of Nvidia, and I'm not going to roll up because Biden's going to speak. So I cut half, move my stop up here to break even, and I'm just going to let this ride. But yeah, one of my panels that I have on the screen, because I have now 8 screens, one is just futures, just ES, NQ, YM, RTY, got the VIX. He trades UVXY, I trade VXX. A little bit different, but you need to watch where the markets are going. Like if you're day trading, you have to have the VIX in the markets. You should not be trying to trade against these things. You want to trade them when they both are lining up. But that's it for me. Still an MTTR. We're trying to come back. We're going to do a quarter cut if we can get to that level, which is 32.78. Danny was pointing about. I was going to do a quarter cut and move my stop up and let it ride out from there.
I think Biden forgot to come.
Nice. Yeah.
He forgot to come. Like this was supposed to start 15 minutes back. Like.
Well,
as
long as as long as MTTR keeps running, he can do whatever he wants. To be honest,
I might buy some calls for you
doesn't
guys.
bother me.
What strike did you guys buy?
I bought the 30 for 12.17. You think you can whale us up, pump us up a little bit?
Damn, so you guys can dump on me?
Gerg, you got to put it out. You got to put it out in the Discord. Tell everybody to buy
No,
MTTR
it's up to
$30
people. So no, I wouldn't.
20.
Did this have any news right now?
It's the metaverse, man. It's coming.
20% on no news. Let's see.
If you die in the metaverse, you die in real life. Okay. Uh, did Mark? Anybody confirm that Mark Zuckerberg actually said that? Probably though.
I hope not.
You don't think
I
so?
hope not.
Okay. All right. So as we are coming into noon, Evan, are you okay if we start with some wrap up? I know he's been having some connectivity problems.
Oh,
All right,
sorry.
TSDR, going to
Did
you
you
real
come to
quick.
me?
Oh, actually,
I'm having
Yeah,
Evan.
connectivity
Fauci,
problems
Yeah.
yesterday.
Fauci news just came out. So Fauci says new U.S. restrictions likely given the new variant. So if you live in the U.S., you have new restrictions coming.
What about in
In
Canada?
Canada, like I don't think they will. They messed it up pretty bad with the vaccine passport. So, but they won't, right? They won't do anything like that. No more restrictions. They do plan to stop travel from I think South Africa, but no other restrictions. Because I think 80% of people here are vaccinated, cases are going down, and even you can't do anything with the vaccine here, right? You can't go to the restaurants, you can't go to the malls. You can go to the malls, but you can't sit down. You can't go to the airport. You can't use any public facilities. You can't even go to university or school, right? Like even right now, if you're taking online university or online schooling, you need to be vaccinated, even to sit at your house. I don't think they will bring back these restrictions again, as long as the vaccines work with new variants. But they are planning to offer two new booster shots. I think one they plan to do this in January, and one might be after Pfizer or Moderna make a new one for the new variant. So far we are doing pretty good.
Okay. TSDR, did you have a comment?
It was back a second ago when we were talking about Facebook and the metaverse. It was kind of maybe a theory that I came up with or read. I don't know how, but I think Snapchat is potentially being underrated or under the radar as a potential metaverse play. And I know Gerg is the resident Snap expert. I was going to ask him what he thinks here about at this 49 to 48 level. I've got 47, 46 marked out as some pretty strong support. I'm not going to yet take a position on it, but I am looking at it, and I think with one quick little metaverse PR, this thing could be back in the spotlight again.
I agree with you, but with this, right, I would love to add Snap at 52 above, right? So it had very strong support at 52. It did break that. So unless it regains that and stays above that, I'm not adding more right now. But I am long Snap, I think. I think Snap is the best AR and the VR play for the metaverse. If you look at the acquisition for last 3 years, almost more than half of them have been metaverse players. But no one seems to be talking about that just now, so maybe we see a move like MTTR one day.
All right. I see some more hands up. Hey, Danny, going to you. And also, I saw you just commented on Brian's post about MP, which looks pretty
Yeah,
good.
Quickly, I
like
just
that
want to
chart.
say Biden's live now, but you can go, Danny. Sorry.
So, yeah, talking about Snapchat, I actually put this out on my weekend review video, which should be pinned, I think, to my Twitter account. But in any event, yeah, I like Snapchat here above $48. If we hold above $48, we got a couple of really interesting things going on. So the first thing, if you look back on the late 2020 to early 2021 Snapchat chart, we had 4 candles up to March that tagged $48 and bounced. We just hit that again on the 22nd and bounced. So couple of ways to play this. And again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is just merely how I'm playing the trade because it is actually a trade plan that I have. So I'm adding shares here. I'm keeping a stop loss at just under $47. One of the reasons why I'm taking this trade, we have a bullish divergence on RSI. And what that means is if you look at the daily chart on Snapchat, you have price falling, making lower lows, but you have RSI rising, making higher lows. And when RSI diverges from price, this is generally an early sign of a reversal. Now, it's not always the way it's going to be, but that's one thing that I look at. Another thing I'm looking at, we did have a MACD crossover on the daily chart, so that looks pretty good. We're holding that 48 level. That looks pretty good. Now, volume is relatively low, and so I do think it's possibly a news event that sends us and propels us higher. We also have a daily squeeze setting up, which I really like. Now, if you wanted to play it more on the safer side, you drop an anchored VWAP off of that gap down candle on October 22nd, and you'll notice that we've held that as resistance on this move down. So if you want to wait until Snapchat gets over, say, 54.40 or 54.50, that might be a safer entry because then above that level, you're above that gap down anchored VWAP, and then you also have that massive gap down when it dropped from 74 down to $60. You're going to have a volume gap there, and price can really move, through that gap in a snap. So that's what I got on Snapchat.
I'm with you, and I like I like taking some anticipatory entries. I put the stop the same place, a little bit below $47, and I mean that risk is so minimal now. We're looking at like $2 a share or so, compared to taking it on a little bit more confirmation, where I could take a losing trade, re-enter, and still be at the same risk if I waited for confirmation at those levels. So that's just something I like to take. It does bring my win rate or my successful trade rate down, but it pushes up that risk reward ratio on my trades a lot more.
Yeah, that's a great point. And to piggyback on that, from a risk to reward perspective, I'm seeing this as if you take it at 48 or let's say 49 and you keep your stop loss at 47, it's a $2 stop for a potential $12, $13 gain. So what's that, a 5-6 to 1 risk to reward? I'll take those types of trades all day, every day.
Hey, Juicy, I see your hand up.
Yeah, so wrap up this NVDA trade. If you took it with me, is doing very, very well, up about 70% here. So I scaled out a half already. Looking for 335. Manage your risk. Anything good that gets below the 9 EMA, you need to get out of this trade. Still in MTTR, but again, pretty much risk adjusted here. One thing I wanted to say, somebody was talking about the win rate. To me, win rate doesn't matter. You could have a 30% win rate. You manage that risk, you can still be profitable. The name of the game is profitability. Are you profitable or not, right? So it really doesn't matter about that win rate. Just manage the risk. Biden is speaking right now. It looks like he's not saying anything dramatic. He's trying to tell everybody to get vaccinated. But that's it for me, guys. I'm going to hop off this call because I am running a live stream right now, so it's kind of hard to do 2 calls at once, but I'm hopping off. Be sure to follow all the speakers. Big shout-outs to Danny, you the man. And besides that, I'm out, guys. Be easy, everybody.
All right,
Later,
take care,
Juicy.
brother. I think that so I just sold my MRVL call. Got out of that. Like where the MTTR one is at. Might set a stop on this MTTR. It's currently up about 9%. So if anybody came in on that with us, the stock has continued to run. It's up almost 17.5% on the day. So it's kind of finding the resistance around those mid 32s as we talked about. So continuing to keep an eye on those key levels. Let's go around, give everybody a chance to, if there's anything else that they wanted to chat about, share that with us now. And then we'll go into a little bit of wrap up as we've been going for about 3 hours now. I've got a dog in my lap that needs to go out and I got to make some food. So with that being said, let's go into some wrap up. Ben, would you like to go first? All right, TSDR, would you like to go first?
Yeah, I'm gonna go quick because I gotta hop off and call my wife. She gave me I got one missed call from her. Anyways, I was just gonna very quickly note the range to the long side for the rest of the day for anyone else that's day trading. I was looking at this 399 level, which was the high 399.05, which was the high from Wednesday, and I thought that would be. I still think that's going to be, maybe a good spot to kind of close out some longs for the day. Next level I'm looking at on the Qs. I'm looking at the QQQ. Sorry, is 423, which was the high from Tuesday. I think we will continue to trade in this range going forward. But if we end up breaking over 423, it appears to be back in a pretty decent risk on setting, depending on how the breadth is looking in the market and whatnot. So 423 today is if we hit those levels, I'll probably just walk away from the computers and take no more trades. But we're getting close to that level to where long or follow through on the upside will be minimal for the rest of the day. That's what I got.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Looks like Ben disconnected for a second. Perhaps he'll reconnect. I'll take this brief moment of an interlude to just let everyone know that there is so much coming up this week. If you enjoyed this space, this is just the start, just the taste. I already have 10 plus spaces planned for this week, including a wide range starting tomorrow at 12 p.m. EST. I will be on with Jake from TrendSpider, exclusive, James from Stock Chart Art, and Evan, and we will be going through a bunch of technical analysis and live charting. Then at 4:30 p.m. EST tomorrow, I'm going to have a panel. I think Stocks Weekly will be there, Juicy, several others, and we'll be doing market sentiment and technical analysis. On Tuesday, we're doing crypto. Thursday, NFTs. I also have a one-on-one with growth stocks with Jonah Lupton for an hour. We'll just run through a bunch of stocks, fundamental analysis, and more. So that is what's to come. So as long as you're following the Wolf account, you will see those things up there. And then the easiest way to get notified when each one is going to be is to be on our Google Calendar. Again, this is the single best way to know when all of your favorite Twitter spaces are happening is to DM either myself or my co-host Evan up here, Stock Market News, and just shoot us your email. Make sure that's in there. And then just ask to be on our free Google Calendar. I already have like 20 to 30 people who DM me during this space. Mind you, there's over 1,350 people already on this calendar. Nearly, I think, 1,000 of those are from last month. So the growth has been recent as we pump this up. So over 1,000 people joined this last month. So if you're not on it, get on it. It's free. You'll just get an email, allows you to add it to an overlay of your calendar. Very simple. And if you don't like it, you can always just click it off, unsubscribe. It's not like a complex thing. But this way you'll know when these valuable Twitter spaces are, because as you heard, like, listen, honestly, we're making money in this. Like, not the best day in the market, like it's okay, but I took one trade during this. It was MTTR. It's up 7.5%. Also, we talked through a whole bunch of other stuff, and you know what? I was kind of negative at one point today at around 10:30 a.m., but now up 1%. So I'm enjoying this and the chat that we've had. Ben, looks like you're back with us. Any closing words?
Yeah, they every once in a while have a tendency to kick me out of these things, like I'm overstaying my welcome. But Juicy mentioned Tesla and at 1140. I kind of see what he was looking at there. I'm long from lower, but setting up intraday, you've got kind of a pennant forming there or ascending triangle. I definitely think that has potential for more upside if it can get above that 1140 mark. Kind of putting in that apex of the triangle right now. So we'll see which way it breaks.
Okay. Anything else on your radar?
No, I think that's it. We covered quite a few.
Okay, awesome.
And good luck with Matterport. It still looks great. I mean, I know Danny mentioned those levels above. Definitely want to be aware. 3270s, that kind of short term. But through there's probably another like 10% or close to it of upside. So right stock, right sector, right time, positive news flow there, and a lot of option flow into that name too. So looks good.
Absolutely love to see it. Evan, I always like to go to you a little bit early on in these wrap-ups. So in case anybody has not already followed my co-host, Stock Market News, that's where you can get your breaking news without having to pay for a service. He will bring it right to you, drop it right on your timeline with regularity, hosts a ton of spaces, is always in and out, and like me, is on Twitter all day. Evan, any closing remarks?
I appreciate the great words there. This was a weird spaces for me. I'm having a lot of technical problems on the back end, and well, I took a bad Twitter trade, like I mentioned earlier, just me having a little bit of fun. We'll see if that pans out. I'm just chilling in that. I want to just reiterate, I love doing this Monday Spaces with Gav. It's become one of the best ones we get to do each week. Make sure you're following all of these speakers up here. This was an amazing panel. A couple people have had to drop off and come in and out. We've been live for what, almost 3 hours now? It will be 3 hours, so great content. Make sure you're following Wolf for more of these spaces, which, I mean, you're in here, you enjoy them, so better be following them and check out his personal account, Gav.
Thank you so much, sir. And also shout out to all these people who kind of came in at the end. I saw Keith Kudis out. I see Catherine Ross in the audience. Catherine's awesome. You probably see her up at the top of your screen. If you're in here, she's got the blue check. We'll be doing a space with her on Wednesday at 3 p.m. EST with The Street. I'm sure we'll be talking over the Twitter news. And maybe by then, Evan's calls will have gone up and we can congratulate him on those. But yeah, Catherine is always good to have in spaces. And yeah, look at that MTTR run.
Yo,
Let's
can we
fucking go.
look at Gap now? GPS. Since we talked
Okay,
about that, it's up almost 4%. You can see the reversal from
yeah, Gerg
10.35.
catching bottoms. Gerg is taking names, catching bottoms.
But Gap, right? I think this thing is $30. Like this is like I don't know why. Like everyone seems to be ignoring Gap, but I think the way like Crocs ran this year, you go see that, like almost up 400%, 300%. I think Gap can make a similar move. So,
but if you were to trade calls, then you'd probably go a little farther out.
I would, but right now I'm only playing commons on Gap.
Okay, commons on Gap. Gerg, anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah, stay safe, don't over-average, and I do believe Spy and QQQ, both of them want to hit me all-time highs before the end of the year, at least twice, so I'm bullish, and I have been for a while now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 or 3 new all-time highs. And don't panic, so look into restrictions, hedge yourself. You might see, like, if you have a lot of names that have been beaten down throughout the year, Baba, Palantir, Zoom, Skills, or any of these, especially these art names, I would consider getting out before December 15th. Because that's when you see a lot of tax loss harvesting, right? Like, that's my plan with Baba, right? Like, Baba, as soon as that breaks 130, I'm going big into 100 puts. Because after that, support is 88. But, so people, right, when people are down a lot on these names, they like to just sell it, claim that against the taxes, and buy it back after a month. So, and usually they wait till 15th or 16th of December. So 10 days before Christmas. If you have these names that are down significantly, 60%, 50% from year to date, I would want to get out and buy it back.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think I'm going to do a tax loss harvesting space. A lot of people, I'm sure in the audience, are very unfamiliar with what tax loss harvesting is, how, especially for larger portfolio managers at the end of the year, they will take losing positions and they will sell to be able to write those losses, and basically adjust their, net gain and then not have to pay as many taxes. But people are often unfamiliar with that. So maybe we'll do a space on that.
Yeah,
You totally should.
If you have registered account, like TFSA or your other accounts in the US that are registered, that you don't pay taxes on, you don't get the benefits. So just keep that in mind. If you have any long-term investment accounts, like IRA, I think, you won't get those benefits because in Canada, if you use your TFS or RRSP, and these guys, like, you don't pay capital gains on them, and you can't claim losses against your taxes in these, so keep that in mind. If they are registered and you get rebate or you pay no taxes, you probably won't get your tax benefit from that. So keep that in mind. Talk with your CFA, and your tax guys. They will probably know more than us as well.
I've been working with a good Twitter account that has kind of been specializing on like tax harvesting and everything like that. I think that the space would be really cool.
Reconcile.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get them in the space for sure. I'm going to be trying out some of their stuff. Okay, Catherine, you came up and joined us. Did you have any comments you would like to make?
Oh man, putting me on the spot. Well, I saw that you guys were still going, and I was like, I've missed being able to hop back on the Good Morning FinTwit, so I figured I'd listen in. And so far, you guys have had. I really like the idea of the spaces for tax loss harvesting because I will say that like when I work with Action Alerts Plus, a lot of the members constantly ask me about that. So it's definitely something that investors don't totally understand. And to be honest, I don't even as a journalist totally understand it. So I would benefit from it too. But as for what I'm watching, I mean, unfortunately, I'm really focused on the Omicron just because it kind of took me off guard Friday. I wasn't even working and yet I was calling people and asking them what's going on. So I'm still trying to catch up on what's going on with that. But it seems like the markets have kind of shrugged off that concern. And then just looking at the fact that we saw, according to Vanda, $2 billion of retail inflows on Friday. So I'm trying to track down where people are buying the dip.
Sounds all pretty good to me. And yeah, it's great having you back on. I know that you do those live calls in the morning, but that's why we're grateful to have Wednesday with you as well. And definitely the market seems to be struggling, especially crypto. Holy cow. Take a look at Bitcoin, everybody. That is a nice candle right there of moving upwards. But yeah, always good to have you on. Make sure that you are following Catherine Ross if you're not already. She didn't get that blue check for nothing. She earned it. Okay. All right. Keeping it moving a little bit. TSDR, I saw you came back up. Did you have any other comments real quick?
No, I was actually going to point out just a few quick stocks. The Bitcoin mining stocks have pulled back to a nice level, specifically HUT. I'm going to be looking. It's still got a few more levels up ahead, but I do like the look of this. It was a pretty orderly, low volume pullback from this 16 level into the previous breakout spot of about $12. Not sure how I want to manage a potential trade on this yet, but I think there will be one to be made again soon.
Okay, sounds good. Nick, any closing remarks?
Yeah, we just learned from the president that we will fight it. So I'm thinking that travel stocks with the travel ban and that will be spiking. So in this market area, I would just play it safe. Again, there's still a lot of unknowns. Moderna's still spiking. We know the vaccine stocks will be spiking, but I feel like we're just should be playing it safe for a bit until we learn more information on Omicron itself and if it's in the U.S. As of right now, it's not, but it could be. So safe. Hope everybody stays safe and well.
Okay, definitely. Danny?
Yeah. Listen, there's over 200 trading days in the year. There's no reason we need to get aggressive or even take trades when the market is choppy and news events are against us. Wait for those moments where your stock is breaking out. Wait for the weeks and the days and the strings of days and strings of weeks where the market is much easier to trade. You'll find in journaling that if you look back on your trades, you'll probably make the majority of your profits during the times when the market is easier to trade versus the times when it's choppy. And it's going to be choppy during Biden talks, during Fed events, during quad witching, during monthly expirations. These are the types of days and weeks where you want to just scale back your positions or just don't trade at all. Watch price action. I think it was Ben who's talking about Tesla. We have a beautiful contracting wave 4 triangle. I am waiting for that break. Safer entry over 1,200. That should trigger our wave 5, possibly up to about $1,600. Matterport hovering around $32. We could get a continuation. I mentioned a level, 32.70. If we get a close over that or we get a close near that, watch for a gap up over that tomorrow. Potential run into Wednesday to about $35. Higher upwards target would be $38. Did mention last night on Stock Talk Weekly's Twitter space that my pick of the week was XPEV. I still really like it, but my secondary picks were watch crypto and watch the crypto mining plays. I too like HUT as well, but I traded Mara pretty well, but I really like Riot from a technical setup. I do think Riot, once Bitcoin makes its big run, I think that's going to really run. And Ethereum up 10% now, so we're we're possibly getting ready to start a move back to all-time highs on crypto. So keep an eye out for that. And there was one other thing I just came across from Benzinga. Some of the top names to watch from this Omicron dip. Watch natural gas, Boyle, UNG. Definitely keep your eyes on the crypto mining space. And then your semiconductors. Definitely keep an eye on NVIDIA and AMD. And then some outside names, Etsy. Coin, I believe, was mentioned earlier. Affirm, still holding on to those levels that we were talking about. So no dips to 100 on Affirm yet. So if we continue to consolidate here, watch for Affirm into the end of the year and beginning of next year to make a bigger move back up to the highs. So Gav, thanks again for having me. This is a new one for me, the Good Morning Monday FinTwit. So appreciate you having me on. Thanks to all the speakers up here, and certainly thank you to all of the people who came into the space to bless us with their with their presence. So appreciate you all. Good luck. And the last thing I'll leave you off with: don't overtrade. This is not the week to overtrade. Let this new variant pass us. Let that push down the news cycle, and then when we start hearing less and less of it, that's when we know we can put the pedal to the metal a little further and start trading again. So good luck, everybody. Be safe out there.
Thank you so much, Danny. Always awesome having you on. Great stuff there. Real quick, I just want to speak this out, and I think this probably applies to some of my other speakers as well. And that is, there's a lot of messages coming in, and I love the DMs. I try to respond about 50 to 100 DMs a day. However, I do not give financial advice or analysis in the DMs. A lot of my DMs are people asking to be on our calendar, asking to be on the newsletters. If you want to be on the Google Calendar, by all means, DM me your email. I have about 40 to get through of those. I'm also happy to chat about other things, chat about spaces, chat about different topics. However, when people just message like hi or hello or greetings, I don't think you're going to get a response back from most people up here. And it's just, just like a tip, like make that DM interesting, put some sustenance to it. I think people are trying to get like the attention. They're trying to get like a hi back and then they'll come with their point, but I don't think it's going to work for most people. And I want people to get responses to their DMs. I want you to be interacting. I want you to be building connections. I started this account with 0 followers 14 months ago, and somehow now a lot of people respond to DMs. And they did even when I had 100 followers. And I think you just want to put some substance behind it. So with that being said, no need to DM me anything too crazy, but just want you guys to be able to, make the best connections that you can possible. Okay. Before I go into just one last piece of wrap up, Evan, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, one last thing. We didn't really talk about Facebook stock at all today, but tomorrow is the last day they're going to be trading under the ticker FB. December 1st, which is Wednesday, it will trade to MVRS, start trading under that. So for anyone who owns that stock or whatever, just expect that to happen. Don't be confused when it does. But awesome space, and pass it back to you.
Yeah, this was incredible. We ran for 3 hours and 7 minutes on here. We had over 4,280 individual different people tune in, maxing out around 900 at one point. We had so many different amazing speakers, all the ones that you see up here, plus Juicy, Jonah, Dan from CNBC, and a few others tuned in with us. We do this every single Monday. You might as well just put a recurring thing on your calendar, or DM me your email, and I'll put it on your calendar for 9:20 a.m. EST every single Monday. We run for a few hours. Hey, the one trade that we made today, or that we, I guess, publicly took kind of the MTTR up 10% from where we took it. So that's looking pretty good. I've got a stop loss set on that. I'm not taking a loss at all on that. Even if I just make $20, who cares? Money is money. Really appreciate everybody who came in and was with us. You bring the energy, having so many of our favorites in here. We love it. Like I said, I will be back on Spaces tomorrow at 12 p.m. I think 12 p.m. EST, yes, for more live trading, charting, analysis with a panel of experts that you do not want to miss. With that being said, wishing everybody an amazing rest of your Monday. If you're in Miami for any NFT conferences later in the week, maybe you'll see me. Maybe I'll wear some Wolf merch. We'll see what happens. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great one.